Unsung Murder Ballads is a true crime podcast, and as such, we will be discussing topics that are disturbing, graphic, and often violent in nature. So this is not for children under the age of 13.
But you know this because you did start playing this episode. So here are some things you might not know about us.
We are going to be critical of mistakes made by both criminals and law enforcement.
We're going to express our views on things that you might not always agree with.
We will occasionally go on an off-topic tangent.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So if you're easily triggered, this might not be the podcast for you.
However, if this is your cup of tea, then raise your pinky finger while you sip and join us for this week's horrific case, you sick bastards.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 178. I am Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
Alrighty, so tonight we have, I said it before I hit record, but we have a new serial killer case. Well, not new, but new for us.
Well, I mean, we don't usually repeat, so...
Yeah, you're right, we don't, although I have re-recorded, so I guess arguably we have repeated. You just haven't been involved in the repeats.
And I could be, because honestly, I forget everything.
You know, you're right. We've said it a couple times. We should just do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for you to prank me and start a case that I should know because we've done it before.
And then I just haven't.
Prank me.
I just think, I just don't know how far I would want to take that joke if you don't catch on at all.
That's so fair. It'd be a terrible episode for our listeners.
But it would be also really funny. And speaking of listeners, we have had 2 requests from a listener. One I saw and kind of forgot about, so I apologize. And the other one, he just recently reached out, so I am working on those 2. We'll spread them out a little bit, but thank you for the suggestions, so hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
One of them, even the way he described it in the message, I was like, oh shit. So we're doing this. Oh,
yeah?
That's going to be the first one I do. It'll probably be in a few weeks because I obviously got to do
Was it a case that you hadn't heard of?
Yes. It was a case I had not heard of, which is impressive.
That's rare.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I mean, there's a lot of cases I haven't heard of, you know.
Lots of people have murdered. It's this crazy thing.
What bothers me is there are some cases I want to cover, right? For example, and we've talked about this in the past, but there's a case right here where I still live in the city of Worcester, Massachusetts, and there was a case not even a half a mile from where I live where a woman was pregnant, someone murdered her, took the baby, tried to pass it off as her own. But it's so similar. Ooh. It's so similar to the other one we did that happened in like Kansas or Missouri that I'm like, I don't want to do it. It's the same story almost.
Fair.
And it's fucked up because I think this other woman deserves to have her story told. But it's like, it's so similar. I'm like, aren't we just repeating ourselves? And I hate that.
Yeah, and it's also sad history repeating itself. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, it was, I researched it all, mainly because when I heard where it took place. But once I got all the details, I would have to, and I hate to say this, I would have to overstuff it with details to make the case longer than 20 minutes. Because it all happened very fast.
Yeah.
And there isn't
Makes
a lot
sense.
of details either because the families of the victims, they don't want to talk. There's no information out there.
That's valid. They don't have to talk.
Yeah. So, and then the house that it happened in has actually been torn down and it is now a park because it happened right next to an elementary school.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's fucked, but I can't really talk about it because I just feel like we're retreading. You know, and granted, some of these serial killer cases are very similar, which is why I haven't done some of the other famous cases because they're also very similar.
And we got to switch it up.
Yeah, we got to keep it. Yeah, we got to keep mixing things up. So, with that said, this one is, you know, the same but different. That's the key here, I guess, right?
Okay.
All right. There's not much of a teaser. We're just going to drop right into the action. You ready?
All right. Let's do it.
On Monday, July 29th, 1996, that was Nathan Streyle's 2nd birthday, and the family had a good day celebrating. They had started the fun early that day, around 9:30 a.m., because both their mother, Piper, and their father, Vance, had to go to work that day. Now, after the party was wrapped up, Piper was supposed to bring the kids to the babysitters and then go to work. However, at 3 p.m., Patty Sinclair, a daycare worker at the Southeastern Children's Center where Piper worked, called the Streyle house because Piper didn't come in.
Okay.
So Patty was surprised when 3-year-old Shayna answered the phone in tears. Now, Shayna is Piper's 3-year-old daughter. You have 2-year-old Nathan and 3-year-old Shayna. Now, Patty asked if anyone was home, but Shayna told her that it was just her and her brother in the place all by themselves.
Oh, no.
Patty was even more shocked when little Shayna said that she thought her parents were dead and hung up the phone. So Patty immediately...
Hate to hear that.
Right? So Patty immediately calls back. And Shayna answered again, continuing to cry, saying that she didn't want her parents to die.
Woof.
So Shayna...
How old did you say this girl is again?
3.
Oh.
She is a baby.
Oh.
Shayna told Patty that her mother had left with a man in a black car. Now, Patty stayed on the phone with her for about 45 minutes trying to calm Shayna down while simultaneously getting a coworker to call the sheriff's office.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff Gene Taylor arrived at the Streyle home around 5 p.m. Now, keep in mind, that's 2 fucking hours.
Yeah. Wait, what the fuck?
I was going to say this is near Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So maybe it does take that long. I should say that. But still, 2 hours.
Yeah, that seems crazy, but I guess, we're not people who can conceive of living in such a rural place.
Yeah, like, I mean, everything was almost within walking distance of me right where I'm at. Same with you, pretty much, because you're Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even own a car.
Exactly. I can't imagine not owning a car in South Dakota.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a reality for anyone.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think Uber is really making that much business out there either.
No, they are not.
So Sheriff Taylor arrived at, again, as I said, 5 p.m. and he noticed that, because they live in a trailer, he notices that the trailer door was open. So he just enters. Now, the place was in disarray, which suggested to him that there had been some sort of struggle. He saw Piper's purse that had been thrown about, like all the contents were thrown about on the floor, along with other household items that were just kind of everywhere. The sheriff found Shayna and 2-year-old Nathan in the back of the trailer. They were unharmed, but crying, and Nathan was walking around like he was in some sort of haze.
Oh, these poor kids have been there for so long by themselves.
Well, neither Piper nor Vance were there.
Oh.
So Taylor suspected that the children had been there for quite a while, as you just said, and he called in a criminal investigator named Jim Stevenson, and the two of them sat down and questioned 3-year-old Shayna about what happened. She told them that her mommy was going to die, that a mean man had come into the trailer, argued with their mother, and fired a gun. Now, Piper was afraid this guy might harm her children, so she told Shayna and Nathan to run and hide as this intruder grabbed her and took her away in his black car. And Shayna also remembered that the guy had stolen a blue tent that was there, which was actually a birthday gift for Nathan.
That's where it crosses the line.
Right? You're going to steal a 2-year-old's fucking birthday gift? Yeah.
This above all is where I cross the line.
You're really funny about all that, but all right. I understand the bit, but like at the same time you're like, it is fucked up, but really we have a whole lot more to do here. Oh man. So a little more than an hour after Sheriff Taylor arrived, Vance finally came home. He had been at work and had even tried calling at one point, but no one had answered. Shayna immediately...
How has no one called him yet?
I don't know. It's 96. Cell phones are kind of in their infancy.
Right, so don't we all have everyone's work contact?
But
back then? You'd have your work phone?
Again, don't know, because think about it. He had to be to work before Piper did. I do know that much. Like, I think 3 hours before she had to be to work. So he probably left probably halfway through the birthday party. And he's a plumber, which I didn't mention. So he may not be on call since cell phones aren't everywhere in 96.
Oh, very fair. Okay.
So there's that possibility. So Shayna threw herself into her father's arms and began crying. As he's asking her what happened, she couldn't really communicate with him. She was so stressed by the entire day's events that being in basically the safety of her father's arms, she just dissolved into just a crying mess, which makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
All he was able to make out from his daughter was that a man had come in, stole Nathan's tent, and that her mother wasn't coming back, is what she kept saying.
Ugh.
Vance's concern turned to absolute fucking horror when he learned more of the details from the sheriff and this guy Stevenson. You know, he learned that his wife had been abducted. And there wasn't much he could really do but sit there and just comfort his children and kind of hope that the police could find her. Alive, preferably, obviously.
Yeah, that's horrific.
I can't imagine being that helpless. I don't know that I could just sit there and take care of my kids either.
Right. I mean, but it's also like, fuck, I'm useless. Like, that would be miserable. Trying to cope yourself and trying to help your kids.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I would want to be out there searching with a fucking gun. That's what I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know here in Massachusetts, they're not going to let me do that. But maybe in South Dakota, they might.
No. You go far west enough, they don't stop you.
Yeah, right? Like Texas, they're going to be like, the whole neighborhood.
No, I just mean Western Mass.
Oh. That's funny. Oh, man. That's like an inside joke for massholes everywhere. Basically, to anyone who doesn't live here, anything on the western half of Massachusetts is essentially considered like the middle of nowhere. You might as well be in Kentucky.
I mean, it's pretty rural out there. All of our population is concentrated very closely on Boston, and then out there they got rural freedom out there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So 3 days after Piper's abduction, Vance suddenly remembered an important piece of information. He then called the police and told them what he remembered, which was that a man had come to their trailer days before Piper's disappearance. He said this man was balding, in his 20s, and he told them that his name was Rob Anderson. Now, he had come to their trailer around 7:30 in the morning on July 26th to inquire about enrolling his own kids in this Bible camp for children that Piper and Vance actually ran every July.
Huh.
Now, okay. Vance told police that Anderson seemed really startled when he saw Vance there, as if he didn't expect him to be home. He also said that once Anderson kind of overcame that surprise, he asked about the camp. And that's when Vance referred him to Piper, who explained that the camp was over for that summer, but that he could sign his kids up the next year. So now Anderson agreed, and he wrote down his name and telephone number before he left. So police immediately began investigating this, as they should. Their new suspect was 26-year-old Robert Leroy Anderson, a maintenance man at a place called John Morrell and Company meatpacking plant. They also learned that Anderson had been married twice and had 4 children. Now,
okay, so that him wanting to place his children in camp, not implausible.
Correct. There's a degree of, plausibility. Several witnesses, though, that police talked to claim that they had seen a black truck in the vicinity of the Streyle trailer on the day that Piper went missing. One of the witnesses was a highway worker, and he told police that he saw that black Bronco 3 separate times that day. Once was around 9:45 a.m. Second time about an hour later, 10:45-ish, and the final time around 12:30. Now, a couple that didn't live too far down the road from the Streyles, and it's important to remember this is South Dakota. I'm not sure how close this house really was.
Right.
But it is also a trailer. So my initial assumption was that these were almost on top of each other, like a trailer park, but I don't think that's the case here.
Not just independent trailers. Good for them.
Right. So this neighbor said that they saw a black Bronco around 11:45 a.m. close to the Streyle's trailer. And that later, they also noticed Shayna and Nathan standing alone by the roadside looking upset.
Oh.
What bothers me is you didn't go check.
Right. Like, you obviously know these people. You're not going to check on
Right?
these kids?
Like, how bad of a parent does somebody have to be before you step in? Like, you see their kids outside.
Right.
Regardless.
But I guess, they probably live out rural. They're probably free range kids,
Yeah, you know what? You're probably not wrong.
Although, again,
it's also
really
1996. Yeah, exactly. Right. 2 and 3 years old. So they also said that an hour after seeing the kids standing in front of the driveway, they saw a man in a black baseball cap and jeans walking out of the Streyle residence.
Huh.
So I think that's odd too. It kind of fucks up the timeline, but again, everything we know right now is coming from an upset 3-year-old.
Yep, this is true.
So, yeah. Okay, so on July 30th, after the abduction, investigators contacted Anderson, and they asked him to voluntarily come down to the police station and have a chat with him, which he did.
Okay.
I know, right? He actually fucking did it.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
It's a smart thing to do.
Exactly. Guilty or innocent, yeah, go down and talk to police. Except, realistically, have a lawyer present. My advice to everybody out there, regardless of why. During Anderson's interview, which was an 8-hour conversation that was videotaped.
Damn.
Anderson calmly admitted to going to the Streyle trailer 4 days earlier. Even though he hadn't established an alibi for the day that she had gone missing, he did tell investigators that he did return to the Streyle's house to ask permission to use the archery range that was on their property. But that no one had answered
what the hell?
Right? And that no one had answered the door, so he left.
Okay.
So I'm imagining a really big property. They have the trailer they're living in and an archery range. That sounds like a pretty cool backyard. And it also makes sense why a 2-year-old is given a tent for a birthday present.
Yes, very much makes sense.
Yeah. Now, Anderson denied that he knew anything about Piper's abduction or her whereabouts. But they would eventually catch him in a lie while they were interrogating him. Investigators got a search warrant for his home and his vehicle, which was a blue Bronco, not a black one. During this search, they found something that would prove to be really incriminating evidence against him. Unfortunately, this doesn't lead to finding Piper, but as investigators searched his truck, they discovered several receipts for duct tape, black water-based tempera paint, paintbrushes, and a bucket. And we're going to get into why that breakdown of that paint is so important. Because you know me, like, I'm not going to waste time on little details. I'm not going to stretch that out. I would have said just black paint. That's important.
Right.
So, now most of these purchases were made a few days prior to the day that Piper went missing. Investigators suspected that the paint was used to disguise Anderson's Bronco. Because this type of paint can be put on very quickly and washes off almost as quickly.
Fascinating. Had never thought to camouflage my car.
It's crazy. Now, my thing is why...
Things that we don't consider.
Well, my thing is, like, sure, you don't want your blue truck to be seen, so you paint it black. But, like, why would you keep the paint in your car?
Right.
And
just a lot of questions here.
Yeah, he's not that bright. I mean, it's smart, but not that smart.
Right.
And of course, their suspicions proved to be right. They had experts come in and analyze the paint on the truck, which, after they chemically tested it, proved he had done exactly what we just said, which is fucking crazy. And they found
weird as fuck.
They found other witnesses that stated they saw him cleaning his vehicle the same day that Piper disappeared. And it was believed...
Okay, this guy's not fucking slick.
No. And obviously they think that that's when he cleaned off his car to bring it back to blue, which is just crazy to me. And then
Yeah,
they
this is I gotta say, this is a new one.
right? I got to give him credit. I would never have thought of it.
I mean, I've certainly never heard of it. Heard
The
of doing this to your car.
the only thing
So,
the only thing I have that's close. Have you ever seen I mean, it's an 80s movie, but it's got Michael Keaton in it called Johnny Dangerously?
I don't
Probably
think
not.
so.
It is an awesome comedy. It's a spoof on the life of like mafia gangsters, and they're breaking
Hmm.
Johnny Dangerously out of prison, and they're escaping in like a black sedan, and they're listening to the police radio and they're hearing it. So one of the accomplices gets out of the car and he's peeling off shelf paper and turning the car from black to white.
That's hilarious.
And then when they announce on the radio that, because it's a comedy, they announce that now he's in a white sedan. He gets up and he peels it off again, but this time it's blue with bunnies and duckies on it.
That's hilarious.
And he looks over at the woman who's driving, and she's like, for maybe when we have kids someday. And it's just hilarious.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
This is what this makes me think of.
Yes, one of those stranger than fiction ones.
And again, go check out Johnny Dangerously, all our listeners. It's really funny. It's very clever the way they did it. Fantastic. And there's even a running gag, and I have to do this now. There's a really funny running gag where the actor Joe Piscopo is in it. And every time somebody does something to him, like someone punches him in the face, he'll be like, "You shouldn't punch me in the face, Johnny. My mother punched me in the face once." Once. it's like this running gag. Anyway,
That's a good bit.
It's a really good movie. It's really, really good. Okay. So police found even more incriminating evidence against Anderson. They discovered a wooden platform that had holes drilled into it, which was believed to have been used as a restraining device for a person's
Ew.
hands and ankles.
I hate that.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Gacy. Where he would,
Yeah.
yeah. So that platform had been sized to fit perfectly in the back of a truck, thus the Bronco. The investigative team also found hairs attached to the wooden platform that genetically matched Piper's.
Oh no.
Moreover, they found a dirty shovel, furniture moving straps, weeds inside a toolbox, and dog hairs similar to the Streyle's dog were also discovered in his truck.
Huh.
So it's becoming increasingly clear that Anderson has this darker side than what he had presented to police, right? So they started digging in even harder. And at his Sioux Falls home, they found a pair of jeans in his laundry basket that were stained with what appeared to be blood. The jeans were taken to the police lab and analyzed, and it turned out that the DNA structure of that stain was blood, but they couldn't match it to Anderson or any member of his family.
Wait, didn't we say that he worked? No, it's the husband who works at the meatpacking factory.
No, so the husband's a plumber, Vance is a plumber, Anderson is a security guard at a meatpacking place.
Gotcha. Okay. Because that's a place to get blood on your clothes.
True. And again, at that point, they can't identify, they know it is blood, but it doesn't belong to his family members, but they believe it's Piper's. But it's 96, so I don't know how good DNA testing was then.
I think they could definitely distinguish the species, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know 96.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well,
I was barely alive.
They also found semen stains on the jeans, but were not able to genetically match them to Anderson because it was a limited amount of the specimen.
Fascinating.
So,
I mean, there's nothing incriminating about having your own jizz on your jeans.
Agreed. And who knows? That could have easily been there because you and your wife had a quickie and you didn't get it fully undressed.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's...
Like I said, nothing incriminating.
No. And they also discovered handcuff keys at his house, but he denied ever owning a pair of handcuffs.
Huh.
So that's weird.
Which is interesting because it's like there's lots of plausible deniability for owning handcuffs.
Right. But the problem here is you have a lot of circumstantial evidence adding up.
Yes, indeed.
So after questioning Anderson, he was free to go, but police certainly still had their suspicions that he was involved in Piper's disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, they're digging in to make their case. And on the same day of Anderson's interview, they brought in 3-year-old Shayna and her father Vance down to the police station to look at a photographic lineup. One of the pictures they put out there was obviously Anderson, but it was an older photo where he had long hair and a mustache, which he didn't have the day he showed up at their house. The day he tells them that he shows up at their house. Shayna and Vance were both unable to identify the man in that lineup that had been the man that came to their house.
Yeah, it's like if it's an old picture, like they only saw him once.
So 2 days later, they were brought back in. And this time they had an updated photo of him from his visit to the police station. And that time, both of them picked out Anderson from the lineup as the man who had entered their house.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So with this positive ID, Sioux Falls police had the evidence they needed to press charges against Anderson. And on August 2nd, 1996, he was arrested on only 2 counts of kidnapping. They didn't have enough to get him on murder yet. Because, they're lacking a body.
Yep.
So in September of that year, police launched a massive search for Piper and for any evidence that might convict Anderson of murder. They employed the help of hundreds of volunteers who searched the wooded areas around Big Sioux River. During the hunt for evidence, significant items were recovered. They found half of the shirt Piper had been wearing that day when she disappeared.
Oh no.
They also found a roll of duct tape with human hairs attached to it. The hair would later be analyzed and found to be consistent with a sample taken from Piper's hairbrush.
Ugh.
And of course, the duct tape was the exact same type of duct tape found in Anderson's truck.
Of course.
Yep. He is known as the duct tape murderer. I don't know if I mentioned that.
You did not mention that, but I
There you go.
I can see why.
Yeah, at least he didn't name himself, right?
Yeah. He doesn't get to have a cool name. That's you fucking loser.
Well, other gruesome physical evidence was discovered around the river, which included several lengths of ropes and chains, eye bolts, which I initially thought were something that someone had used on someone's eye, but they're actually just that looped screw type of thing you would put in a board to run, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I had to look that up because I was like, the fuck is an eye bolt? But it's not as...
Yeah, that sounds like a Frankenstein ass.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, I see what you're picturing.
They also found half-burned candles and a vibrator.
Oh, I do not like that combination of items.
No. And it is obviously believed that these items were used to torture Piper.
Oh.
Now, it was surmised that after Piper was abducted, Anderson drove her to a wooded area near Baltic, which is part of that area. And while he was there, he bound her to the platform, gagged her with duct tape, sheared her shirt off, and then methodically tortured her with the candles and the vibrator before sexually assaulting her.
Oh, that's awful.
It is then believed that he killed her and disposed of her body, most likely in the river. For the record, Piper Streyle has never been found.
Oh, that's so sad.
Anderson admitted to police and friends that he liked anal sex, and that was something his wife never wanted to do. So police are thinking this is part of his motive, which is fucked up.
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
I mean, realistically, find someone you can pay to do that if that's what you really, really need, I guess.
Right.
Fucking weird. So in May of 1997, Anderson was tried and found guilty of kidnapping Piper. He was sentenced to life in prison in South Dakota State Penitentiary. However, this wouldn't be the only charge he would be convicted of.
I was going to say, it's kind of crazy that they put him away for life without a
kidnapping.
body.
Yeah, I mean he's going away for life for only kidnapping. And I guarantee you, and
Wow.
I have no information on this, but I'm willing to bet they made him a plea deal to reveal where she was, and he probably didn't take it.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah, that would make sense.
right. Now, one of Anderson's lifelong friends, a guy named Jamie Hammer, brought forth evidence which provided investigators with new information about Anderson's sexually sadistic and predatory behavior. They essentially learned that Piper wasn't his only victim.
Oh, well, good on this guy who was his friend for having the integrity to be like, I'm not gonna sit by and watch this happen.
Well, yes and no. I don't know what made
yikes.
this guy change his mind, but he has information.
That's true. I guess he was holding on to that information at one point, huh?
Exactly. So during interviews with police, Hammer said that as far back as high school for them, he was aware of Anderson's obsession with torturing and murdering women. His obsession with it, not necessarily his acting on it.
Okay.
Now keep in mind,
I hate that. And we're staying friends because?
Right? Well, because they both have an obsession with it, I'm assuming. Because my next line is literally, Hammer was intrigued by the idea.
Oh.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Anderson's only like in his mid-20s. So we're only talking like 8 to 10 years. But still, that's a long time to not say something.
Yeah, it is a long time to not say something.
Here they are in high school talking about torturing and murdering women, and it wasn't long before the two of them decided that maybe they should act it out. Let's go for it.
Jesus.
They literally started to plan a way to abduct women together. So the two of them went out and they got what's generally referred to as wheel poppers, those nails that like that rack you throw across a street, and when a car goes over it, it flattens their tires.
Mm-hmm.
So they got some of those and placed them on the road. And they waited for a victim to drive by, get a flat tire, and, presumably pull over.
That is fucked up.
Well, again...
And this guy's just admitting to this.
Right. Admitting to it after the fact. Years after the fact. Now, keep in mind, this is South Dakota. So, again, it's not like what we're used to where cars are going by all the time.
Fair enough.
So, with their attack planned out, and what Hammer didn't know was that Anderson had already selected a victim. It wasn't going to be a random person. He had someone in mind.
Oh.
It was a woman by the name of Amy Anderson, no relation to our Anderson here, the perpetrator, which would have been fucking weirder. Right?
Yeah.
So Amy Anderson, she was 26. He decided that in November of 1994, so 2 years before abducting Piper, as she was driving down the street, she ran over the wheel poppers, and as planned, her tires went flat and she pulled over on the side of the road. And I got to give this woman credit. And again, this is the 90s, so it's not like you can just call up like AAA on your cell phone, right? She gets out, she goes to her trunk, and she's about to take out her spare tire and change her own tire when Anderson grabbed her and carried her off the road towards a wooded area.
Oh, no.
Now, luckily for Amy, she was able to break free, and she was able to flag down a passing car that did actually stop and pick her up.
Wow.
Now, this attempted kidnapping of Amy remained unsolved for all those years until Hammer finally spoke up.
Whoa.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that poor girl. Holy shit. How terrifying is that? And to never figure out who had tried to attack you.
Right. I would be afraid to drive alone anywhere. And I would never stop for a flat tire. I would run that rim into the ground. Yeah. Exactly. So 2 years later, when Anderson was on trial for the abduction of Piper, this is in 96, Amy's case was brought forth again because at this point now Hammer's talking. And she was able to identify Anderson in a police lineup. But he would never actually stand trial for that crime because another friend of Anderson's, a man named Glenn Marcus Walker, he would be the one to claim responsibility for that because he apparently was also involved in it.
Why is everyone stepping up and saying, "Oh, it was me, it was me"?
It's really fucked up. Yet one guy who could have gone his whole life and no one would have ever have known he was involved, and he throws Anderson under the bus. And as they're about to get him, this other guy comes out of nowhere and basically jumps in front of the bullet for him.
Yeah.
It's so
And like maybe he was involved, but I'm sure he's claiming, "Oh, it was just me. It was only me. I did it."
Oh, just wait. Don't worry. Walker has a lot to tell.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me of like the Snowtown murders, where it was a group of people, or even the family murders in Australia. I don't understand how a group of people can come together for such fucked up things. And yet...
Yeah, it's like, use your management powers for good.
Right. Well...
Like, come to my work and, like, make people work together. That'd be so cool.
Well, so Walker, like I said, comes out and he confesses that it was him that tried to abduct Amy, and he pled guilty to the offense. But it's not the only crime he would admit to that he committed with Anderson.
Jesus.
So
what's going on?
So he takes the bullet for the guy and then reveals other shit that they did.
What the fuck?
Right?
This is bizarre.
So investigators discovered that several months before Amy was attacked, Anderson and Walker had committed yet a different gruesome crime. In 1991,
they never stop.
In 1991, Lyssa and Bill Damansky had moved to South Dakota from the Ukraine. They were eager to start a new life in the U.S., and they both began working at the John Morrell and Company meatpacking plant.
Uh-oh.
It was there that Lyssa befriended the plant's maintenance man, Robert Leroy Anderson. As with his buddy Hammer, Anderson and his other lifelong friend, Glenn Walker, wanted to experience abducting and killing a woman.
I just like...
I don't get it. I'm with you.
People sitting out there with that fantasy? Like...
You know, probably.
I've never in my life, of all the things I want to experience...
I'm not going to lie. I've never fantasized about wanting to just go out and abduct and kill somebody. But there have been people in my life that have wronged me that I have thought gruesome fantasies about. Does that make sense?
Sure. But that's different. That's not you dreaming of like, oh, hopefully someday I'll kill.
Right. I'll get to experience this crazy thing. No. So yeah, but apparently that's something people think about. Clearly.
I hate it.
Agreed. So together, these two devised an elaborate plan to kidnap Lyssa. Anderson had been stalking her for several months, and one night they put wheel poppers on the road to damage her tires. However, the night they did it, it didn't work because Lyssa, she just didn't stop her car. She kept going.
Slay.
Smart girl.
Or like, just didn't notice.
Maybe
it only popped him a little bit. Like a little leak.
Maybe, but it doesn't, unfortunately, it doesn't save her from this.
Oh, no.
On August 26th of that year, Anderson approached her in the parking lot where they had worked together, and at knife point, he ordered her into his vehicle.
Fuck.
Then Anderson and Walker drove Lyssa to Lake Vermilion. When they were there, Walker watched as Anderson dragged Lyssa out of the car and raped her several times.
Oh, God, that's awful.
Lyssa pleaded desperately for her life, but they both just ignored her.
Oh.
During the testimony given by Walker several years after this happened, he informed police that Anderson suffocated Lyssa with duct tape and then buried her remains beneath a cherry bush.
Oh.
At the time of Lyssa's death, she was 6 weeks pregnant.
Oh.
So to make that, I want to put that tragedy in full perspective. This is a couple who left the Ukraine for a better life in the U.S. She was 6 weeks pregnant, and these fucking assholes destroyed both their lives.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
So shortly after Anderson was convicted of kidnapping Piper in 1997, Walker confessed to police that he was an accomplice in the abduction and murder of Lyssa. He also told them he would show police the location of Lyssa's body.
Wow.
So on May 20th of 1997, Walker led police to Lyssa's shallow, unmarked grave at Lake Vermilion. When they dug up the area under that cherry bush, the remains they found were only portions of her skeleton.
Ooh.
In 1999, Midwest News article stated that forensic experts recovered a total of 57 items related to Lyssa, which were identified as a tooth, a rib, the bones from her left and right wrist, several fingers, a right foot and ankle, several fingernails, a jaw, and various throat bones.
Oh.
Yeah. They also found, near the grave, a pair of work gloves, bullet casings, Lyssa's shoes, a part of her belt, jewelry, and pieces of her clothing.
Oh.
Now, Anderson had decided to remove the skull and teeth from the shallow grave because he had a feeling that someday Walker might reveal the location of Lyssa's body, and he wanted to remove any, identifiable things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
I hate it. Like, the one time he has foresight.
Right? When Anderson went back to remove her skull and teeth, when he exhumed her remains, the things he took with him, he threw out his car window as he drove away from the scene, scattering them about. Yeah.
Idiot.
No, because they didn't recover those things. So this was years before. This was years before they you know what I mean, this guy talked to police. So those things were lost.
Sure, but it's like they maybe could have found those things.
True. Very true. Again, he's not the brightest bulb on the tree.
No.
So then, Anderson's prison cellmate, a man named Jeremy Brunner, came forward with information because Anderson had been bragging to him about the murders of Piper and Lyssa.
Jesus.
Who does this?
People who think they're in, safe company. I don't know.
You know what? That's the only possible answer. Yeah.
Like, they think, oh, these guys in prison are so cool, and they're going to think I'm so cool if I tell them that I'm a murderer and I have killed women.
I got to say, throughout my life, right, and I'm 50-something, right? Throughout my life, I have learned that whenever I try to be cool, I just look like an idiot. I just be yourself. You're fine.
Yeah, that's a fact of life for sure.
You called me out on it once. I remember. I'll never forget it because it was hilarious when you did it. We were driving back from
funny.
We went to see a late night movie, and we were driving back, and I was going down these dark back roads, and I said, the only thing I'm worried about is a deer jumping out in front of me. And I said something like, I swear to God, if one does, I'm just going to eat it. And you were like, yeah, okay, asshole.
I was like, yeah, fucking right.
It was so funny.
You wouldn't get your hands that dirty, you goddamn bitch.
Anyway, but that's what this guy makes me think of, someone who's just trying to be so cool, and he
100%,
brags.
and what he thinks cool is gonna be in prison.
Right. So his bunkmate, his cellmate here, Brunner, he told authorities that Anderson admitted that he was a serial killer and that he kept trophies of his victims at his grandmother's house.
Oh.
He even told Brunner...
admitting to so many things.
Between him and his two idiot accomplices, it's amazing they got away with any of it.
Yes.
For any amount of time. Yeah, idiots. So he literally told Brunner the exact location of these items. And they were later found exactly where Brunner told them that they would be. They were literally
crazy.
They were tucked between the ceiling and the wall of Anderson's grandmother's basement, some places Brunner guy had never been.
Wild.
That stash included a ring and a necklace that belonged to Piper, and something from Lyssa as well as well as a gun that Anderson had carried with him, which, of course, they did find bullet casings at Lyssa's gravesite.
Yup.
During another conversation, Anderson had asked Brunner to murder Walker for him, his buddy here that he thought was going to talk to police. He wanted Brunner to murder him because he didn't trust him and he needed him to stay silent about the crimes.
Asking your friend to kill your other friend is fucking nasty work.
It's
dude.
so weird. And Brunner,
it's also so stupid. I can't emphasize just how stupid that is.
could you imagine? I mean, you know my friends, right? Could you imagine if I asked one to murder another? They would all turn me in.
And I was like, you're asking one to murder another because he knows about your crimes, so you want him dead.
Right, which tells.
But then your other friend
also knows
they participated in a crime.
Yeah, exactly. It's stupid. So
man.
So Brunner agreed, and Anderson drew.
No,
hold on. So Anderson drew up 2 maps for him. One map depicted the location of Walker's house, and the other map showed where Anderson's grandmother lived, so that he could go to the basement to get the gun that he stashed there. And that's how.
There's nowhere else to get a gun.
And that's how Brenner was able to show police exactly where everything was in Anderson's grandmother's, apartment when he turned him into police. He wasn't going to actually kill this guy for him. He just did it to fucking turn him in.
That's crazy. I do love all his friends are betraying him.
Right? Except 2 of them are betraying them at their own cost.
Right.
This Brunner guy
doesn't really make sense, but okay.
I mean, maybe they lived with a degree of guilt. They must have.
Could be.
But this Brunner guy is actually going to get a shorter prison sentence for what he's helping police with.
Ah, true. There is a motive there.
Right.
To help. I mean.
So Brunner's testimony, along with what was taken from Walker and Hammer, proved to be instrumental in securing another conviction. So on September 4th, 1997, Anderson was charged with murdering Lyssa Damansky, and he was also charged with the rape and murder of Piper Streyle.
Damn.
That entire trial lasted about a month, and the evidence against Anderson was overwhelming. And on April 6th, a jury found him guilty on 4 counts of rape and murder of Piper and the kidnapping and murder of Lyssa. 3 days later, he was sentenced to death by lethal injection.
Oh, shit.
South Dakota,
They're
baby.
doing that shit.
I think I'm with you. Mostly I don't agree with the death penalty, but in some cases, yes. Yes and yes.
Right. And we've talked about it many times where I'm like, I don't think it's justice.
I agree, but I also don't want to pay any money to keep these people alive.
Right. We pay a lot of tax dollars to keep people in private for-profit prisons.
Exactly.
So
Anderson's friend Walker was tried for his crimes in March of 2000, and he pled guilty to attempted kidnapping of Amy Anderson, accessory to kidnapping, and first-degree murder and conspiracy to kidnap Lyssa Damansky. He received a total of 30 consecutive years behind bars at the South Dakota State Penitentiary.
Okay.
In January of 2002, Anderson filed for a death sentence appeal with South Dakota Supreme Court, and the court would finally make their decision in May of 2003, but it wasn't going to matter.
He was going to die anyway, you're going to tell me?
On March 30th, while awaiting the outcome of his appeal, Robert Leroy Anderson committed suicide.
Yeah.
Yep. Anderson was not in his... Yeah, exactly. Anderson was not in his death row cell, but he was alone in a segregation cell, and that was when he was found hanging from a bedsheet tied to a bar. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Now, there is reports that 3 months before his death, his own father had committed suicide from a gunshot wound to the head, and some people think that may have pushed him over the edge. Personally, I doubt it, but who knows? I think...
Right, who knows? I mean, it certainly is an impact. It certainly puts an idea in your brain.
Right. Well, I think Piper's husband, Vance, said it best, and this is what I'm going to close with. Quote, "This is what we were after anyway. It just saved us some time and effort." Unquote.
Well said. I
Exactly.
agree.
And that is the
And
case.
saved some tax dollars too.
Exactly. And that's the case of the duct tape killer.
Ugh, fuck that idiot. I'm glad he's dead. I hope he's
Agreed.
rotting.
Yeah, I hope he's burning in a hell that is beyond my imagination.
Amen to that.
Right? I actually, we had, so some friends of mine and I have had some conversations lately, and we'll wrap up the whole thing with this thought. Other than the actual idea of a hell where you're in eternal hellfire, what do you think is the worst way to spend eternity? I'm going to give, while you're thinking about it, I'm going to give you some ideas that we came up with.
Okay.
One is, and some of them are funnier than others, but I came up with this one where you die of a heart attack in a public bathroom stall, and you're forced to haunt that stall.
Ooh.
That's a rough one.
That's a pretty good one.
One of my coworkers came up with you either fall overboard or your ship sinks in the Bering Strait. So then for the rest of eternity, you're floating in freezing water with your eyes just high enough to see nothing but endless water.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Another friend of mine came up with the idea that you're murdered and you have to witness the people you love being basically tortured and killed on a loop. But the reason they're being tortured and killed is because you died.
Oof.
Yeah. So those are the...
That's some real creative, horrific shit y'all came up with.
Right. Exactly. So I've been asking everyone. So even the listeners, come up with something. Leave it in the comments, which will be crazy in our comments. But bring it on.
Yes.
So have you...
But I love it.
Have you... do you have anything?
I think you die by drowning but you're immortal and you keep coming back alive only to drown again.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's a rough one. Someone had said the same thing with fire, but I was like, no, that's hell. Like, that's not going to work. But water is...
That is literal hellfire. Yeah, that's the concept of that lore.
Exactly.
So.
You're just forever burning. But the forever drowning, that one's brutal.
Yeah, that one would suck. So that's my answer. Boredom. Forever boredom. You have to, like...
Oh, yeah. Sitting there in absolute nothingness.
In absolute nothing forever. Just to be alive and go insane.
So yes, everyone, thank you again for joining us. Once again, I'm Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.